We should intentionally have our boys play with a child who has the chicken pox. Let them get it now while they're young. That's not crazy at all, Sharon.
Let's face it, the parents on South Park are rarely any wiser than the kids. Which decision did your parents make while you were growing up? Felt like something that would fit in on South Park? Let us know down in the comments.
Number 10, electing a hand puppet as mayor. In the appropriately named South Park: The Fractured But Whole, the kids discover that Mitch Connor, Cartman's dastardly left hand, has returned to take over South Park by running for mayor.
The citizens of South Park deserve to feel safe from vigilantes who go around farting on people's heads.
His plan? Get all the adults hooked on drugs and alcohol with cat urine while letting criminals roam free to make Mayor McDaniels look bad.
What do we do, sir?
Just keep getting the product into people's drugs and alcohol. I'll handle the vigilante.
His plan succeeds in the first timeline, but when the new kid rewinds time, the kids manage to expose Mitch's plan before his inauguration. Although, let's be honest, this was Cartman's doing the whole time. Rather than analyze their stupidity and overindulgence, the adults all choose to disperse in search of clean drugs and alcohol. If only that really exists.
Come on, everybody. Let's go get clean drugs and alcohol from the next town over. Yeah!
Number 9, getting Earth blocked off.
Yeah! All right, you got him, son!
After bringing down a notorious space criminal, the adults find themselves stuck with a ludicrous amount of space cash.
Space cash.
However, instead of reporting and returning it to the intergalactic police, they choose to keep the stolen cash to themselves, lie to the police, and begin using it as their own currency.
Oh, no, China. We get to keep the ship. Because we killed the alien, you boner. Oh, come on, England. You got just as much of the space cash as everyone else.
As it turns out, the criminal and space cash were all a part of a test to see if Earth was eligible to become part of an elite legion of intergalactic societies.
These are not space cops. There is no space jail, and space cash is only worth what you as a planet decided it was worth.
Citing their greed and self-indulgent behavior, the criminal, who's revealed to be an ambassador of the Legion, isolates Earth from the rest of the universe.
Well, that sucks.
Number 8, dressing up as ghosts to scare off rich people. When Token manages to get rich families to move to South Park, Mr. Garrison becomes irritated with the sudden change and rallies some of the townsfolk to get rid of them.
That's the 5th family of them that's moved here. Seems like all of a sudden South Park is being overrun by those types.
Hey, what are you saying? What types?
You know, those types. Rich people.
However, their methods are a little unorthodox, to say the least, as their methods for scaring the rich away involve burning a, quote, lowercase t that supposedly stands for
Time to leave?
To make matters worse, they dress up as, quote, ghosts as their last resort to get the rich to leave. While their plan works, unfortunately, the ending implies that Garrison managed to trick the town into temporarily becoming the KKK in a convoluted get-rich-quick scheme. How did nobody realize this sooner?
That was it. We just saw the last of them speeding away in a van. All right!
Number 7, explaining the plot of an adult film. When Randy has the boys give the Stotches a rental of Lord of the Rings, he soon discovers he accidentally gave them an adult film.
You ready for some hot, steamy fun?
And so he and the rest of the parents end up searching for the kids before their innocent eyes experience it. Luckily, they find them, but rather than explaining the problem, Randy chooses to explain the plot in immense detail, leaving the boys speechless. Given that Token watched the movie, we can understand his assumption, but the stupidity lies in his negligence to ask, let alone leave the kids confused.
Wow.
Number 6, believing Butters had multiple personality disorder.
Your son is suffering from multiple personality disorder.
Talk about being overly paranoid. After witnessing their son putting on multiple personas, or as the kids call it, playing pretend, Linda and Steven believe their little Butters has multiple personality disorder and place him in therapy with Dr. Janice.
I'm now speaking to the person known as Inspector Butters.
Inspector Butters is on the case. This is fun.
Butters quickly becomes frustrated with his predicament as he finds his own doctor is the one suffering from the illness.
Don't listen to Dr. Janice. He's a mean old man and a big silly grown-up.
Pardon me?
We got to side with Butters on this one. Playing pretend is nothing alarming. Kids do it all the time, and even adults can adopt personas. Besides, Butters is just enjoying his life as a postman/truck driver. Let the kid have a little fun.
No more Postman Butters. No more Inspector Butters. No more Porn Star Butters. No more Professor Chaos. And no more... Ah!
Number 5, burying their heads in sand to prevent an attack.
Kyle, what the hell is going on this time? I have no idea.
Once again, Family Guy has gone and angered another part of the world, getting ready to air a new episode that depicts the Prophet Muhammad.
So?
So? Stanley, Muhammad is sacred to the Muslim people.
While Kyle tries to stop Cartman from getting the episode pulled, the townsfolk of South Park are thrown into a blind panic, wondering how to keep themselves from getting bombed by Muslim terrorists. Just so they could say they never saw the episode, the whole town ends up burying their heads in sand.
No, wait a minute. That's ridiculous.
There are two issues here. First off, the terrorists were threatening the whole country, not just South Park. And two, who's going to bury the last person's head in the sand?
Be sure to bury their heads in the sand before you bury your own.
This was an absurd plan conjured up in a desperate move to claim innocence.
The idea has swept the nation, but where will we find enough sand for everyone?
Number 4, banishing Stan for refusing to vote. South Park Elementary finds themselves in a chaotic split when the candidates for the school's new mascots are announced. One half wants the giant douche, and the other wants the turd sandwich.
You see, what turd sandwich brings to our school, Cloud, is a complete package. The turd and the bread, and the lettuce and the olive.
Whereas giant douche is just, well, just a giant douche.
The only student who doesn't seem to care is Stan Marsh, and when he voices his apathy, the town straps him on a horse and sends him packing.
Dad, isn't this a little extreme?
Jesus. I guess maybe you'll never understand how important voting is. Goodbye, son.
Considering the number of awful things Eric Cartman has done, this is all it took for Stan to be exiled? We guess South Park considers not voting to be worse than making a kid eat his own parents.
Do you like it, Scott? I call it Mr. and Mrs. Tenorman chili.
Number 3, banning cats.
Probably shouldn't have told you that just now. Okay, that was probably bad.
Alright, this should keep my cat in place while he sprays the urine.
The kids have found a new way to get high, and the drugs are right in their homes. When the adults discover it's possible to get high off of cat urine, they take extreme measures to protect their children, going so far as to straight up ban all cats. Of course, that doesn't stop Kenny from getting hopped up on what is called cheesing, and Cartman ends up housing dozens of cats in his attic.
Shh, Mr. Kitty, you have to be quiet, or else they're gonna find you.
Clearly, this overblown ban could be foreseen as difficult to enforce, but what else could we expect from the grown-ups at this point?
Just do it one more time. One last time. Then I'll call the police, have them pick up the cat. And then I'll never do it again.
Number 2, sending their children away so they won't abduct them. In the episode Child Abduction is Not Funny, the parents of South Park go to great lengths to ensure their kids' safety.
Stan, our abduction problems are over. We got the new child tracker.
Despite putting clunky child tracker helmets on every kid in town, the parents soon discover a new horror thanks to their local news: the possibility that parents may abduct their own children.
The study shows that the most likely abductors of children are the parents themselves.
You'd think there'd be one sane grown-up to call out the lunacy on display, but nope. Every kid in South Park is sent away, and Mayor McDaniels hires the City Walk owner to build a massive wall, ensuring nobody will be able to kidnap their kids.
And so, we want you to design and build a great wall all around the city.
I don't build wall. I just own and operate a city walk.
Before we take a look at their dumbest moment, here are a few honorable mentions.
What's going on?
They're trying to save Clyde's mom.
From what?
They're saying Clyde left the toilet seat up again.
But what if you could actually live in the most central location that Soto Sopo has to offer? Well, now you can. Announcing the villas at Kenny's house.
So tell me if I'm crazy, but I started thinking that we should intentionally have our boys play with a child who has the chicken pox. Let them get it now while they're young. That's not crazy at all, Sharon.
I tried to warn you all, but no one took me serial. You all just made fun of me, didn't you? Well, now you can just deal with it yourself.
Number 1, blaming Canada for their children's foul language. As a result of seeing the very adult Terrence and Phillip movie, every kid in town is swearing and calling each other inappropriate names. Rather than take it upon themselves to be parents and teach their kids why cursing isn't appropriate, the mothers of South Park blame the whole thing on Canada and form an association called Mothers Against Canada.
Canada! With all the hockey hullabaloo! And that bitch Anne Marie, too! Canada!
The outrage eventually escalates into a war between the US and Canada, and the farting comedians are taken as the US's prisoners. This all could have been avoided had they spent a few minutes explaining to their kids what they were doing was wrong.
I'm sorry I didn't pay attention to you, Kyle.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.